Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Last week we discussed about the law of karma in the form of power. Actually, in several discourses we have this series on karma as power. First of all, karma as willpower, then karma as moral power, then karma as spiritual power. I will just briefly mention about it, but today we have a new series altogether where karma viewed from the standpoint of becoming, bhava. The significance of the term bhava. You see, you become only by acting in a certain manner. If a person is in the jail and has become a prisoner, that is because the person has acted in a criminal manner. If a human being after death is born in the Devaloka, it is because the human being has been living like a deva, as a human being, and so on. So, the action, what we become is how we act. So that would be another series. I will deal with the subject from today onwards, but before that, let us once again just a summary view of karma as action. I mean karma as power. See, all that the human beings have created, science, technology, commerce, trade, art, architecture, medicine, any field of human achievement, all these are the results of willpower. And even an ordinary, let us say in a very ordinary case, you have a child and you put the child in the school at the age of 3. And the teachers teach the child. The teachers tell the child, look here, you can become this, you can become that, if you read this, if you read that, if you do this, if you do that. Then at home also the parents teach the child. They say, you want to become a doctor, okay? I'm a doctor, the father is a doctor. So he says, you want to become a doctor like me? He said, yes, daddy, I want to become. Very good, then do this, do this, do this. So now this child can be motivated to become a doctor when he grows into a full man or a woman. So behind this, you see, this ability to be what wants to be is willpower. To become what one seeks to be, behind is this creative power of what we call willpower. But will is a blind force. Now all the violence that you see in the world today is the result of will, a very destructive willpower. On both sides, those who are mentally completely filled with destructive mind, destructive will force, they keep on doing something that is wrong, something that is criminal and evil, creating a lot of suffering, and the authorities, they also do the same thing in order to contend with them. So there is no end. A whole process of violence goes on based on wrong type of willpower, use of willpower. A criminal type of willpower, negative type of willpower. And that is action ultimately. Action is threefold. Action, bodily action, the way we act and do things, verbal action, the way we speak, and mental action, the way we think, imagine, plan, and all mental activities of that kind. So these actions ultimately, you see, determine what we want to be or what we are today. If the jailbird were to ask, hey, how is it that you have landed here into this world of misery? He said, well, I have landed here because I did things, or I willed things, which the fruit of which can be ripened only here, in the jail, in the form of suffering. I deprived the people, not only of possession, but also of freedom of mind, freedom of security. I robbed them, I did this, I killed them, I indulged in, you see, all kinds of evil and all kinds of crime. And these criminal activities can ripen only in an atmosphere where all freedom is lost, all sense of human dignity is gone, and nothing but unmitigated suffering from morning till night. Everybody calls you by some names, low, very, you see, derogatory terms, imposes all kinds of punishments without any reason. So there you are. What you become is how you have willed to become. Now this is the negative side of willpower. The positive side, there are human beings who enjoy great wealth and prosperity and happiness, name, fame, all the good things of life in human plane of existence. Here and now you can see, and all that is because what they have willed. If you go deeply into it without mixing up, you see, reality with theories, with concepts. You say, no, I got all these things because some supernormal power, some supreme God, somebody has given me all this. The reality is very different. So human beings, if they live in a state of reality, then their minds can achieve the highest reality, which is liberation from all sufferings of worldly existence, samsaric existence. So, will, karma as a willpower. We have discussed it in detail. So, a moral power, you can see that here and now, how it works. And then, but both willpower and moral power, I see, willpower is plain creativity, either negative way or in a positive way, is blind. Moral power is not blind as such. It only determines our gati, our destiny, either upwards or downwards. By action, every action has a moral quality. If the action is morally unwholesome, then the result will be, it will ripen in a plane of existence where, you see, only such can ripen. Say, if a person has killed, or if a person steals or commits immorality of all kinds, tells lies all the time, and so on. Now these karmas can ripen in an area, in a place where such activities not only exist but prevail. Let's say in a society where people believe in violence, where people believe in badlao, revenge. From generation to generation, there, you see, families have revenge. In Afghanistan, it is well known. Even in the British time, those Britishers who used to be posted in Afghan areas, they would come back and say, my, it's a terrible world of revenge. It's called the family revenge. Now, somebody has hurt somebody in the family, or the honor, so-called honor of the family. A boy has somehow got, involved with a girl of a family. And these families are not of the same level, either socially or in so many ways. They have their own distinctions, like our caste system and so on. So, now the honor of the family is involved, so that woman is either killed or done, or very tortured, and so there is a revenge. Revenge factor comes in. The father says, okay, I will not, or the brothers will say, I will not stop unless I take revenge with the other family for destroying our family honor by running away with my sister or my daughter, and so forth. So this kind of revenge and killing and tremendous hatred and all that, from generation to generation, it has been continuing. And even today in that area, there is no peace at all. So you see, there are three planes of existence, very distinct planes of existence. One is known as Kamma Loka or Kamma Vachara, the sphere of existence. Kamma means desire or sense-born desire. Desire that arises through the six senses: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind. Now these sixfold sense organs, you see something nice and you like it, so you want to have it, and there arises desire for having it. And if you keep on desiring, then it will go into clinging to what you desire. Then this clinging to what you desire will end up as attachment for that thing that you desire. So this is how the mind gets involved. Sense-based desire rules the lives of beings who are born in the plane of sense desire. Kamma Loka. So Kamma Loka is now, there are many, many levels of desire. Let's say the desire of a human being is, and the desire of a crocodile, it differs very greatly indeed. Now a crocodile desires to swallow stone, big pieces of stone. Now human being will never desire to do that. But they will like to, they desire to eat something else in the place of stone. But it's desire nonetheless. Whether it's desire for some vegetable or some sweet or some toffee or for a stone, the object differs, but the quality of the desire per se is the same. Only it differs in intensity. In the case of the crocodile, the desire is so very intense and powerful that as soon as it swallows a big piece of stone, that stone gets converted into a lump of butter, so to say. It becomes soft with that tremendous heat inside the belly of the crocodile. Just melts away there. So desire has very, very different levels. From the lowest plane, there are two. In the Kamma Loka, you have got two distinct spheres. One is the Durgati, or Durgati in Pali, Durgati in ordinary, in Sanskrit and in other local languages. which means the plane of the various planes where beings suffer. These are realms of woe, unmitigated suffering if you are born there. And not only suffering in that particular life, life is so insecure and so filled with fear all the time, and you cling to life so much, though you are swallowed by a bigger creature of your own kind. See, that fear of being swallowed wholesale is so very pervasive and intense, you see, that there is no peace of mind. Now you go and live in a jungle, then you see a smaller creature is swallowed by a bigger one by another bigger one, and so forth. At least in the human plane, in the Sugati where human beings live, and the various divine devas also live. Now in Sugati, they won't swallow, a human being won't swallow another human being wholesale, no. Now of course we have got the story of cannibals, human beings who live on human meat. But that's a different story. That's not like swallowing a whole being, you see, wholesale. So now desire differs in the different planes of a sphere of existence. So in the Kamma Loka, action, you see, your action, that which can ripen only in a particular level of Kamma Loka. If you do those actions, there is no other way but to get, you see, land over there. You just get landed there. Because you have acted in a way where your action can ripen only there. So one day, you see, the Venerable Ananda, Bhagavan's personal attendant and brother, he was thinking of, well, what is all about this life? It's nothing but becoming. Becoming. Bhavati. What becomes? He was thinking, of course, in a deeper way. He says, ultimately, you see, we are constantly dying and we are constantly being reborn. That is the fact of life. So at this level, you see, life is nothing but becoming in the form of a process of becoming. Say, at the pure material bodily level, you ask any doctor who is an expert, a cardiac man, what's happening in his sphere. He is dealing with the heart, he is dealing with the lungs, therefore, and then he is dealing with the respiratory system, breath and all that. He will say, well, do you know the heart pumps like this, and then the blood goes into every cell of the body, and then all the dead cells are pushed out by this new supply of blood. And so dead cells, this new cell that has come, it lives for just an instant, maybe a fraction of a second. Then it too dies, and again replaced by another volume of blood and so on. So at the cellular level of our existence, body, everything is constantly changing, everything is becoming. Then at other level you can see the mind. So mind constantly changing. The way you see a particular object arises in the mind, and that object seizes the mind in such a way, influences the mind in such a way that either the mind is wholesomely bent or unwholesomely bent, inclined in a wholesome way or inclined in an unwholesome way. So this kind of change and becoming constantly both at the level of the mind and the body, is very, very clear. Now, Acharya Bhante was meditating whole afternoon on the Anapanasati, on the breath meditation. Then, at the end, he says, well, breathe in and breathe out. So you just focus your attention on that. That's all about Anapanasati. What does it amount to? He was questioning himself. Now, he says, well, I breathe in. So this in-breath is a process. And it is not just one quick, let us say, imbibing of, wind. No. It's a process. Slow. It has a beginning, it has a continuity, and it has an end. So the breathing starts. You imbibe, you respirate, you take in air. As a process it goes on, and when it reaches to the apex, then the process ends there. This end of the breathing in, by its very ending, forces the breathing out. You can't just breathe in and remain there tight with breathing. No. That itself will cause death. So you have to breathe out. There is no question about it. So breathing in leads to breathing out. That also is a process. Now, breathing out starts, continues, and ends. By its very ending, again you breathe in. So this process of respiration, the whole life is nothing but that. You are living because you are breathing. That's why you are called prani. One prana, one who lives through breathing. A prani is a being who lives through breathing. He is a breathing creature. And the whole universe, if you see, a very large area of living, the sentient existence is this, breathing creatures. So now it amounts to what? It amounts to this process of becoming. Then, at the micro level, you see the breathing process, and you see the cellular level of changes that occur in the body, breathing process that occur in the body and the mind. So this is all about, bhavati, becoming. But there must be a greater thing now. In this way, whole life you live. From the time you are born, you started your breathing. And when you die, your breathing ends. Only to restart another life. By the very end of this breathing of this life, because you have accumulated meanwhile, during the so-called living period, from birth to death, you have accumulated all kinds of karmic potency, which in simple terms just means action having a capacity to produce a result. And not all action, only volitional actions. Intentional actions, you have intended to do something, so there is this willpower, factor behind the action, and that determines. So you have accumulated a whole lot of karmic potency in that way. So the cumulative effect of this potency, or rather the cumulative, power of this accumulated potency, now that catapults you into a new state of existence. By catapulting, it simply means It's like a monkey in the example given in this. There are Patija Samapada pictures that they show how bhava occurs. That is, from life to life, this rebirth, the rebirth mechanism is working. Now a monkey jumps from branch to branch, and he has such expertise in jumping, and such a, you see, he's, with his mind works in such a way that it enables the body to jump from branch to branch without falling. Maybe 500 feet above the ground, it jumps. If you look at it like that, it brings fear in people, the way they jump. So also, from one life to another, one branch and the other branch, the distance may be 30 feet, 50 feet. So a distance of 50 feet he jumps without any support, without anything. Just in the space, he jumps into the other. Suspended in the space, he moves. Consciousness can move likewise. Consciousness is not determined by time or space. It is beyond time and space. Now, for instance, if you like, all of you have your homes. Just try this, close your eye for a minute and just say to yourself, well, what is happening in my house? Let me see. Just look at, you see your home, which may be 10 miles away or 5 miles away. There is a distance of that. So you just see what is happening in your family. In a fraction of a second, you can see what is going on there. You don't need to run there 10 miles and taking an hour, bus ride or whatever ride. In a fraction of a second, you can see exactly what is happening there. So the mind can travel without being hindered by the space factor, the distance factor. This is with reference to space. And with reference to time, it is equally true. Because both space and time are concepts, they are not realities. Concept means what you mentally construct, what you construe, mentally create. That is concept. It may be true, it may not be true. It's just mentally formulated. So it's not real. So distance, as far as the mind is concerned, is no problem at all. Now here you have also conquered distance through your information technology, through a computer. You just tap one thing or something on something, you see, and the message goes to New York right away, straight, in a second. There you are. So space doesn't come in. It is conquered. Mind is far more powerful and efficient than a computer. After all, computer is a creation of the mind. If the computer is wonderful, the mind that has created it may be far more wonderful indeed. So here, time and space doesn't exist in the world of mind. So, becoming basically is a process where both time and space doesn't matter at all. It is a process like the example I gave of rebirth mechanism. It's becoming. One is becoming purely in a micro level from birth to death. The other is becoming at a macro level. From life to life you travel. Now you are here in the human plane. You are born a human being. You have a family. You have built a huge property, you have built a name and fame, all kinds of power and position and influence and all this. With one stroke of death, all this is just demolished and collapsed. You are somewhere else. If you have during your lifetime lived a Shilavanta life of virtue, where you have never harmed any creature, you have saved life rather than destroy life, you have promoted the well-being of life, you have never stolen or indulged in any corrupt act or cheated anyone, you have never committed any sexual immorality, you have not been telling lies, you have not been indulging in intoxicants. So this kind of pure moral life that you have lived, all the karmic potential that you have accumulated by this through your Shila, it can prevail in a sphere of existence where these 5 principles are a part of life. Now the Devas, for instance, they don't kill the way that we do, human beings. No, there is no need for them to kill. Human beings are short-lived, at the most 100 years. Oh, a 100-year-old man, my goodness, life is miserable for him. I can tell you that from my own. It's not such a happy life as you grow, as you age. Jarapi dukkha. Aging is a process of suffering. And I understand that very well indeed. So now there, the gods live for not years, 100 years. They live for kalpa. Hundreds of thousands of years. Their time factor is very different. It's a different order of time. For instance, at the lowest level of divine plane, Chatu Maharajika, by the time we have lived 50 years here as human beings, they have lived just one day. Look at the ratio. Now, one day equals 50 years. So the order of time is very different there. Now the Devas there live for 500 Deva lifespan. Now you compute it in terms of human lifetime. My goodness, several thousand years. 50 years per day, 24 hours. So 1 year means what? 1 month means what? One day is 50 years. 1 month, huge number. 1 year, even huge number. And so on. It's a long lifetime that they enjoy. And they don't suffer from all the limitations and disabilities of a human being. Now, if you have lived like a Deva in this life as a human being, naturally your karma will ripen only in the Deva Loka or in a human sphere where human beings are extremely refined and cultured. They don't they don't kill. Now Lord Buddha created a society where Panchashila is absolutely a must. No follower of the Buddha, even in dreams, they don't like to kill. They don't like to steal. They don't like to commit sexual misconduct. They don't like to tell lies. They don't like to drink intoxicants and become mad right here when you are living. They live a decent, refined, clean, pure life. And not only Sila, this pure life, they meditate and constantly purify the mind. And the result is, where can they live? Where can they go? Having lived like this all life and having accumulated a karma potential which ripens only in the divine sphere, or in a human sphere of very high culture and very high, refined existence. There you can land. So when Ananda thought in this way and he said, well, I am thinking of becoming both at the micro level and macro level. What do I know? I know nothing. I am not fit to be, the dust of Bhagavan's feet. I mean, this is a language which I am using. He was humble, noble. He says, what do I know? Nothing. So let me go and ask Bhagavan himself. That is how he went to Buddha. And he says, Lord, now it is said, Bhava, 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 Bhava. Three Bhava. The plane of existence where desire-based, where sense-based desire prevails. There is a plane of existence, Rupa Loka, Brahma Loka. No desire whatsoever. It's impossible. They don't know what desire is. And in a plane of existence where there is no matter at all, even Brahma Loka, you see, it is a material plane, no doubt, but our material plane is very gross. Therefore, I see it has got the other aspect. Human body has two aspects, a repellent aspect and a very attractive aspect. But at the God's level it is very different. They don't rot, their bodies don't rot. And the Rupavasa, even the material body there is so subtle, it's something like electricity. A subtle matter which you can't see. If a Brahma God were to land here, he will simply go right in, he will sink into the earth, because there is no earth for him. So, there is a plane of existence, which is of subtle matter, where if the mind has become so sublime by developing samadhi, the ecstatic states of, absorption at the spiritual level, very highly evolved spiritual life. When you have lived like that all your life, you have developed a consciousness which is equal to the consciousness of a Brahma God. Where can you go? After death, you are born there. So if you have developed another type of samadhi, where it's pure and simple mental existence, no physical existence at all, then you can land only there. So this way the question, when he asked the question, Buddha gave an answer, but today I will leave it at this. This is an introduction to the whole series. Bhavati iti bhavo. You become something because you have acted in some way. You see. So that will be the subject. Today we have, Venerable Sanasenaji has come. I would like him to also give a talk, so that all of you will benefit from that. May the grace of Bhagavan Buddha surround your lives with wisdom and well-being. May you all be happy and well. Ah.